Welcome back to Saber Sports. I'm your host, Simone Steffen, joined at the desk by Jeremiah Williams and Keith Norris Jr. With college football well underway, out of the top 5 in AP rankings, which are Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Miami, and Texas, which team has the best chance of winning it all?
It's easily Ohio State. When you look at them beating Penn State 20-13, it kind of showed that they're able to win without having the best performance. You know, Will Howard, he had 182 yards. He went 16 for 24. That's not the greatest game, but he did enough for them to get over the hump. I feel like also when you think about it, they lost to Oregon by 1. Oregon's the number 1 team in the nation right now. That literally shows us all, that shows the world that they're able to compete on a high level and they're able to get it done no matter what. And I feel like the pieces that they have, when it comes time for the championships to come, they're going to be ready and they're going to take it all.
Definitely. Now, I'll say this. I know America sees the number 1 rank as Oregon based off of rankings, but I'm not believing the hype. If you had watched Oregon this year, Oregon has beaten some of the best teams by less than 3 points. They barely beat Boise State. Right. Let's not forget, and they only beat Ohio State by 1 point. So I do believe, not to back you up, but certainly Ohio State is the team who has the best chance. And I believe a great second would probably be Texas.
Really?
Texas is a second.
Texas, okay.
But I can definitely see Ohio State being the favorite and Texas being a backup.
Okay, so you said Texas is number 2. I like Texas, but for some reason I'm really not sold on them. I don't know why. I feel like they're a solid team, and when it comes to the regular season. But you know how college playoffs is way different.
It is.
You have time to key, and I say this all the time. You have time to key on different opponents, different schemes, different quarterbacks. I feel like the number 2 right now, for some reason, is Georgia. And the reason why I say this is because SEC, right? It's SEC ball. That's one of the toughest ball.
And what Texas playing?
SEC as well.
Okay.
But the thing is with Georgia, they've been there before, and they know how to get it done. I feel like with Texas, the pressure might be so high on them, they're going to freeze when it comes time. Like, what do I do? How do I key on these players?
I'm going to say this.
Right.
That quarterback, Quinn, he has shown he can throw for 300 easily.
Right.
I'm going to say this, and this might be a cold take, hot take. I feel as though
Lord.
Texas backup quarterback is better than Georgia's starting quarterback. I'll take Arch Manning over Carson Beck because look at really look at the tape.
Okay.
I'm talking about interceptions, fumbles. He just lost them that game this past Saturday.
So you're taking Archie Manning over the starting quarterback of Georgia?
Yes, because you act like Arch can't start nowhere else. Look at who's in front of him.
He could.
He goes to Georgia. I don't know if that's the same offense, so I'm not going to compare it because I know how QBs play in a great system. But I will say, I'm not convinced on Georgia, and there's no way you are as well.
I'm very convinced of Georgia because I trust them when it's time for the playoffs. Texas,
that's
the only thing.
Yes, I get
Texas,
the experience.
And that's what I think of. That matters in college football. Like Ohio State has experience. Texas doesn't have experience. Miami, ACC, I'm not sold on them. That's why I didn't even mention them. I'm just not sold.
Now, Cam a great player, but besides that, their defense is getting scored on.
Okay,
and
so
the rush this past weekend, they almost ran for 300 yards on Miami's defense.
Right, so we talk about defense wins championships, right?
They do.
Which it does. But if they're getting scored on, that means they're not going to be able to match for match, score for score with somebody like an Oregon or Texas or even an Ohio State. So let's get Miami out the way.
Definitely.
Now with Ohio State, and we mentioned defense, their defense is consistent. It's solid.
They got
and that's
some
very
players.
important when it comes to like a college football. Like, you can be able to score, but if you can get some stops, that will put you over the hump.
He's good enough. I wouldn't put him in a category of
Really?
I would put him as a game manager. Like, he can play, but he gets wins. He knows how to use his players. He knows how to throw it up to his receivers. So I feel like he knows his offense.
I think he's an excellent wide receiver. I looked at his numbers. Like I said, Oregon. Oregon's number 1 team. They only lost by 1. So he threw 28 for 35, and he had 326 yards.
That's a baller.
That's an amazing game. And then you look at 16 for 24. You say he's a game manager, game changer. Yes, but he's also consistent.
He is.
I feel like with him putting those numbers up, and different numbers, but a lot of yards versus Oregon, I feel like he's showing the world that he can possibly be the number 1 quarterback going into this next draft. Possibly. Possibly. Based off those numbers.
Yes, but I'm going to say this. Look at his weapons, though. You think about he could have 2 1,000-yard receivers. That's easy.
That's easy.
So I believe just off of that, he has 2,000 passing yards alone, and he still has other weapons. He got a great running back. You know, he got a good running back. You know, he got a great offense. So I feel like Ohio State has it where Oregon in close games, they haven't closed games.
So
you're looking I feel like they haven't closed it against big enough teams.
You're looking for them to what? Shut them out, or you're looking for them to,
I'm not looking for them to go 37, 34 if I believe with Boise State. That's not what I'm looking for. Genty should not be having 300 yards because we all make it about competition.
Right.
Group of 5, Power 5.
Right.
He shouldn't be coming up here running for 280, 200,
right,
regardless.
And I think with Oregon, when you say, 34-37 versus Boise State is in a weak conference to me. They're a good team, but they're in a weak conference, if we're being honest. Like, I know that's funny, but, it is what it is. But you can't allow Jenny, like you said, to go for 300-plus yards on a team like Oregon because Ohio State wouldn't allow that to happen.
And when you look at that Ohio State game, it could have easily flipped and switched, and they could have won the game. Minor mistakes, stuff that happened in the game, but they should have won that game, honestly.
And I also think, going back to Texas, right,
Yeah, because I want to know why Georgia is your number 2.
Why is Georgia my number 2?
Yes.
I'm just going off experience, bro. I'm going off, even though I know, okay, granted, I know they lost to Alabama early, and Alabama is not the greatest team this year. I think they're ranked number 15.
No, they top 10 now.
They
just beat LSU.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So I'm looking at Georgia just off of experience, bro. That's all I care about.
And
when
honestly,
I think about experience and playoff, it goes hand in hand. The numbers don't lie. When you have experience, you know what to do in certain situations.
I'm going to say this. Don't be surprised. I believe anybody in this top 5, they better not lose because Alabama is coming. Did you see them? I'm not sure if you watched them against LSU. Milroe had about 4 touchdowns rushing. He went crazy.
Coming. He's coming, for sure.
He went crazy. I'm just saying, we cannot forget about them. That's an experienced team. When you talk about experience,
for sure.
come on.
Because they still
now, I'm going to say
that.
this because of their losses. Yes, they are like ranked number 8 or 9, 9th. But I believe if somebody loses in that top 5, don't be surprised if Alabama gets a great argument.
So out of all these teams, right? Which team? What team are we think is going to lose? Because somebody's going to lose.
Somebody's going to lose.
Out of Ohio State, Oregon, Georgia, Miami, or Texas, who's going to lose?
I think Oregon going to go all the way. They might have an undefeated season.
So they're going to win it all?
No. Undefeated.
You saying undefeated?
No,
so
undefeated regular season.
Okay.
But playoffs, that's a different argument. I do believe Miami has lost. I can see Georgia. I believe, if I'm not incorrect, I believe Georgia plays Tennessee. And their quarterback, I'm not saying Tennessee the best team, but you know what I'm saying? I believe Georgia does not trust Beck there, quarterback. They do not trust him.
You said what?
Carson Beck, they don't trust him.
him?
They don't trust him. They don't.
They
don't.
They may
trust
not
him.
trust him, but I think they will trust their defense in a sense to get them over the hump.
Okay.
In that regards to
so you'll expect their defense to shut everybody out?
Not shut it, contain. There's a difference. There's a difference between shutting out and containing. Shutting out is like, okay, he's not going to score anything. The team's not going to score anything but field goals. Containing is doing enough so that you can get the ball on the offensive side and hold it until the game's over, or get a quick field goal or a quick touchdown. So
they
contain is different.
Ole Miss 28-10.
That was a bad game.
That's a bad game.
That's a bad game.
You think they can afford bad games? They 7-2. They lose one more
They
time.
lose one more, okay.
It's over.
But I think Miami would lose before Georgia.
I can see that, but see, I'm not worried about that. I'm talking SEC teams at this point because I feel as though you shouldn't be losing like Georgia to Ole Miss. Come on now.
I believe
Alabama gonna sneak up.
I think they understand what's at stake right now. It's getting close. The season's on its way, but I think ultimately Georgia is going to make it into the playoffs, and we'll see what they do. But I'm excited to see. But I definitely think Ohio State's going to win it all for sure.
Just wait next week. Tennessee versus Georgia.
Okay.
Coming up next, we're going to be debating 2 of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. We'll be right back after this break. Moving to the National Football League, who would you take as your franchise QB? Jayden Daniels or CJ Stroud?
I'll take this one.
All right.
So, franchise.
Okay. Let me talk to me.
Overall, I believe with potential upside, Jayden Daniels will be a better quarterback, right? Because we talk about different aspects of the game. Rushing, and he can pass.
Okay.
He probably is the most accurate in the league as a rookie.
Okay.
Right? Now, CJ, if we talking passer, I would give CJ maybe a little lead, but for me, I'm going Daniels all the way.
I'm not mad at that. And usually, Keith, we usually disagree.
Mm-hmm.
I think this time we're going to agree, which is really weird.
Rare.
So when I think about the word franchise, I think about overall longevity. What are you going to your projected numbers in the future? How you're going to react in big games. I look at everything, like you said, overall. This is tough, but I'm going to also go with C.J. Stroud. You know, he's a skinny quarterback, but he has every tool. And he kind of reminds me of, he has Lamar Jackson speed. You know, he has great arm strength. He has an accurate, strong arm. He has a good pocket presence. And I think he understands the game very well.
And you're talking about CJ?
CJ.
No,
excuse me, Jayden.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about Jayden.
Jayden, okay.
So when I look at him and I look at what he's doing right now, I think he has a better overall, upside, and I would take him as my franchise quarterback.
Definitely, because as a rookie, he came in and the team grabs around him. Like they navigate around him. Usually he got to come in and prove himself. You see him and Terry this past weekend, they gave the Steelers a run for their money.
Those are my Steelers too, yeah.
Yeah, they should have beat your Steelers.
Sure.
But mind you, he got it. He's calm, he's poised. I don't know. Every time you see him, he's smiling.
Right.
He's happy to play there, and it's like the old lineman is blocking for him. Look at just a year ago with the Commanders team.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like, they blocking for him. He has weapons. He has a great wide receiver number 2.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, he has great weapons around him. His running game is not that bad. Even Austin Eckler, his backup, they efficient.
Right.
So, franchise, he got it. It's something he's doing in the locker room, which we don't know.
Right.
But I'm seeing this team love him. And they taking up for him at every moment. They blocking for him, going the extra mile.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I think he has everything, like I said, every tool. It's like he's able to, if the pass is not working, he's able to move on his feet.
Yes.
If they're crowding the line, he can dump the ball. He can throw it deep. That's very important as a quarterback because at the end of the day, we talk about franchise.
Yeah.
And a franchise quarterback can take you over the hump. A franchise quarterback can take you to the playoffs. A deep playoff run. It may be even a Super Bowl. When I look at Jayden Daniels, that's what I see. He's very accurate. So when it's time for the playoffs to start, what can you do? You can throw the ball.
That's why I like him the most.
Right.
When you accuracy as a rookie, it's like he makes smart decisions. Every time I see him play, he's not throwing into double coverage. Yes, he does have 2 interceptions of the season.
Right.
Come on, man, as a rookie. He only has 2. He only been sacked 20 times. To C.J. Stroud, 34. C.J. Stroud has 6 interceptions.
Yeah.
And when we talk about all-purpose yards, if I'm looking correctly, Jayden Daniels has 2,600 all-purpose yards. 500 on the run, 2,100 passing.
And then also, I'm going to be honest, I'm looking at the now as well. The Commanders are 7-3 with Daniels. Stroud and the Texans are 6-4.
Yep.
And then when I'm looking at Stroud, he's not the most athletic.
He's not. He only has 150 rushing yards.
And also, under pressure, he makes bad throws in the middles. That's a problem in the playoffs.
It is.
That's a problem because you can't teach accuracy. You can't teach pressure. If you have pressure, what are you going to do when
he's
it
having
gets tight?
problems?
Exactly.
Yeah, it's a lot going on. That's why I believe Daniels is the future.
Right.
Right. When we talk about they only got a year difference. Man, he's playing better than him this season in his rookie season than C.J. Stroud second.
Right.
I'm obviously taking him.
Okay,
I believe.
but between the Texans and the Commanders, who has a better chance of making it to the championship?
Commanders.
Commanders.
Because look.
Commanders.
I'm gonna
you
be
see
honest.
what they did against that Steelers defense?
Whoa, they did a lot.
That's the
not too much.
Steelers
Not too much on my
defense.
Steelers.
That's the Steelers
Whoa,
defense.
not too much on my Steelers.
The only other person I've seen done something like that is Lamar Jackson.
Oh Lord, okay. You don't want to go there, but
you know what I'm saying?
We'll stay on topic. Okay, now I'm gonna say the Commanders. The only reason is because their division is not the strongest.
Yeah.
Okay, granted, it's the Commanders, it's the Eagles, it's the Giants, and the Cowboys.
Yeah.
Like,
them out the way.
nobody's sold on the Cowboys or Giants. So all they really have to go through in their division is the Eagles. When you look at the Texans, you're thinking about Lamar Jackson, the Pittsburgh Steelers,
Yeah, it's a lot of teams.
the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's the Bills.
Bills.
The
Yeah,
Bengals.
say it
That's a
again.
lot. There's a lot of juggernaut quarterbacks in that division. So when you look at Stroud, I'm like, can you beat Pittsburgh? Can you beat Baltimore? Can you beat the Chiefs? The answer is no.
No, he's not. He's not.
So
'Cause
that's
when he
easy.
seen us last year, you seen what happened.
Right.
You know, we sent him home. And Daniels, like I said, I'm impressed.
I'm very impressed.
Because
Yeah.
the Steelers' defense is one of the ones that
They are.
The D-line was getting after him, and he stayed poised. No frustration, no yelling.
Mm-hmm.
I believe he's wiser than a lot of these veteran quarterbacks,
They
and
are.
I believe that's what's taking him further in life and taking him further on the football field.
And he's getting this experience now in his first year.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say this. I'm going to continue to preach this. You can't teach experience. When he goes through these, hardships right now as a rookie,
Yeah.
he's able to relax when times get tougher, because he's seen it already.
Yup.
So you can't really phase him because he's already seen it. He's going to stay poised, and his accuracy takes him over the hump, which most quarterbacks don't have. Stroud, on the other hand, okay, he's seeing adversity right now, losing a couple games. So what are you going to do about it as a quarterback?
Yeah. Now, if we talking arm, CJ, he can throw. CJ can throw. If we looking at touchdowns, he has more touchdowns than him, more passing yards. But I'm still not convinced because his passing percentage is lower by 6, maybe 7%. He has thrown 60 more attempts than Jayden Daniels and only has 20 more completions.
Okay.
Come on.
Now,
That's only a third of his. You know what I'm saying?
what-
Like, he's not that.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
will Jayden play as good next year once these teams know how he plays?
No. And the reason I say this is because the first year, the rookie year is always okay, let's see what you can do. They really can't key on you because you don't have all that film that most,
Yeah, all that
most
tape,
veterans
yeah,
have.
definitely.
So at the end of the day, next year, teams are going to be able to key on him, and he may struggle a little bit. Sophomore year struggling, that's normal.
So, yeah.
The hype will be down because he's a sophomore, but I think teams will key on him, but I want to see how his performance is going to, play out. Because if he plays the same way, we have a problem.
I think he's still going to be hot. And the reason why I say that, your completion rate shows it all. I don't care. There's
Right.
people out here that can run super fast, you can pass, but that shows he makes smart decisions. He got it up here. It
Right.
don't matter about his legs or he's smart. So I feel as though if he keeps that and continues watching film, he'll be dangerous.
It's going to be interesting to see, man.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Coming up next, we talk Cowboys struggles. The Dallas Cowboys are off to another lackluster season. Who is the most to blame for the Cowboys' struggles? Jerry Jones, Mike McCarthy, or Dak Prescott?
I've been waiting for this topic, for so long, and it just angers me sometimes because I feel like we give him so much credit and we don't look at him enough. The answer to this question is Dak Prescott. Over the last 7 years,
Okay.
he's gone 2-5 in the playoffs.
Yeah. Well,
His performance continues to decline every year. And we still, as fans, as media, as just people that love football, give him an opportunity.
as organization, we paying him.
We pay him all this money
man.
for him to do well in the regular season.
Ah.
And he wets the bed in big moments. The problem is Dak Prescott. It's time for him to go.
And you know what? I can see that. I think it's two people. Jerry Jones,
Okay.
organization, right? He makes a lot of decisions,
Right.
and he's the overseer for a lot of things.
Okay.
They haven't been good since the 90s. You know what I'm saying? Since
That's
like
fine.
95. I believe since 1995 they haven't made it
Since
to
Irvin
a
and them.
championship.
Yeah.
The reason why you could blame a lot of people, Dak is at hand. Because when we talk about quarterbacks, yes, he's been playing terrible.
Right.
But when you talk about Jerry Jones, he has had opportunities for the last, 25, 30 years to find somebody. And they haven't proven to make great decisions with head coaches. Because Mike McCarthy get out there, he wet the bed himself. He don't know. His coaching decisions is not the best.
Okay.
Dak decisions aren't the best.
That's
So
why I
I
look
feel
at
like,
Dak.
honestly-
That's why I look at Dak.
Man, they might.
That's why I look at Dak.
The Cowboys as an organization just need to get away. I don't.
I don't think it's the organization. I think the problem is Dak Prescott. Like,
so a better quarterback is going to be.
You said what?
A better quarterback is going to fix all this.
Yes,
Okay.
because when Dak, y'all have to understand, Dak Prescott can do so well in the regular season, and when it comes to the playoffs, to a divisional round game.
Now he's out. He's done for the season.
I don't care. He wasn't going to do anything this year anyway. Let's just be honest.
He wasn't.
The Cowboys are 3-6.
Yeah.
They're not going anywhere.
But now that he's out the equation.
I still blame Dak.
Okay.
He's 2-5. He's 2-5 in the playoffs. You cannot teach that. It's a problem.
So,
get rid of him. You pay him all this money.
So to America right now, what would be your steps going forth?
Get rid of Dak.
Okay, so you get rid of Dak.
Every time. I do not trust him.
I'm talking about
He's an average quarterback.
Look, you get rid of him. Do you draft somebody or what do you tank? What do you do? What would you do?
If I was a GM?
Yeah.
Yes.
You
Jeremiah Williams is GM.
Yeah.
That's Cowboys. I like this. I'm making some money.
Yeah, you are.
So I'm getting rid of Dak, of course.
Okay.
I think I'm going to look for somebody in free agency or draft somebody because going to Dallas is very special. You know, it's a historic franchise.
Yeah.
You have some weapons. So I'm gonna look at that. But the first thing I'm gonna do is get rid of Dak. I am tired of him.
Tired of Dak. So I don't know what the
I have a
Cowboys pick
question.
is. What's your question? Now go ahead.
Okay.
What's your question?
If you get rid of Dak, what quarterback are you drafting?
Sanders. I'm getting Sanders. I trust him.
I like
I
Sanders.
know it's very like corny. I'm getting Sanders. I'm sorry.
I'll
He
be
can
honest.
throw the ball. He's willing to launch the ball. Dak will launch the ball and throw it in the middle and it's an
Yeah,
interception.
definitely. And mind you, I can agree. You know, his dad played for him.
I like that.
I'm liking it as well because
I like that. I'm gonna say
he has
Sanders.
weapons around him already.
Exactly.
CD, he already has weapons.
Exactly.
So
I don't think he's afraid of the limelight. He's been Sanders has seen the limelight since he was in high school
Yeah,
because his father. So going to Dallas wouldn't it would be pressure, but it wouldn't be too much he can't handle.
But do you think they can get him?
They got a tank for him. I think it's perfectly time to do it right now.
Yeah, it is.
Do it right now.
Lose the rest of the season.
They're in the running for first right now. So continue to have bad seasons, which they will right now.
And I believe in 2025, the Cowboys have a first-round pick.
Exactly.
So-
it's perfect. And this is my thing too. And I know I blame Dak and it's okay because I'm gonna do it. You can't look at Mike McCarthy. That's X's and O's.
Yeah, definitely.
What are you?
It's all about the Jimmy and Joes.
What
I
are you
know
gonna
what
do
you're
as a
talking
quarterback to change that?
Yeah.
Like what are you gonna do inside the line? You gotta throw the ball. What are you gonna do? There's nothing you're doing.
Hey, the Cowboys they got 11th pick.
You know what?
The 11th pick. They can trade and they can get a higher pick and definitely get Shador. That's what you like?
Oh, so you would take Shador over Cam Ward?
Yes.
Yes, I will.
That's QB1.
Yes, I will.
Yes.
I like what I see from Sanders. His
Plus,
ability to throw the
you made a
ball.
good argument about being poised. People don't realize what it means to go down go down there and play for the Cowboys. That's a different.
It's a
that's
different
America's
pressure,
team.
and Dak cannot handle that pressure.
He can't. And I'm saying Cam Ward been in the limelight this season.
He ain't seen it like
Shador.
Shador. Every game, Shador's seeing it.
Come
He was
on,
going to
man.
the bathroom. He got cameras.
Yeah.
He going to warm up. He has cameras. You
That's
can't
where he need
teach
to go.
that. And that's why it's important to get rid of Dak and bring Sanders in.
Sanders or somebody else they find because they need to get Prescott out the building.
You have to. And then also, right, I'm looking at these numbers this year. Dak has 11 TDs, 8 interceptions. 8.
You hate
8.
that.
So I'm not pausing. I'm not hating or whatever. I'm not going to stop. But say if he was playing, he would definitely have 15 this year possibly? Maybe? I'm guaranteed he's throwing.
Yeah.
I guarantee he's throwing one versus the Commanders this year, at least once.
He probably would have had 20 touchdowns. 15,
Exactly.
15, yeah. That would have been like that. I mean, I don't want to piggyback off you. I'm trying to spice it up myself, but truthfully, it got to be Jerry Jones, and I feel like it's Dak as well.
Jerry,
I
don't have a problem with
why are
Jerry.
we only blaming Dak like he's been the only Cowboys
Because
quarterback?
it's 7 years. You're the quarterback. You're the leader. What are you going to do to get them out of the drought?
When should we give up on him? When should we have gave up on Dak? After year 5?
3 years ago.
3 years ago.
So okay.
3 years ago.
A 4-year run?
Yes.
That's not bad.
4 years
I'ma
is
say this,
enough time
I
for
would've
you to
gave
do
up,
something.
I would have gave up before they paid them the big money contract. That was stupid.
No, you don't give him.
Yeah, that's what I said. That was dumb. I want to know, yeah.
There's obviously in quarterbacks we got a tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4.
He's
on
under.
that range 3,
Yeah.
3 and 4, and maybe
Yeah,
even
3 and
5.
up. Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
He was never in the tier 1, and that's my problem. People thought he was tier 1, tier 2. You can't be a tier 1, tier 2 quarterback
Now he
when
did
you
have
don't
a
make
good
it to a
season.
divisional round.
Dak has had a good 1 or 2 seasons.
That doesn't matter. Consistency.
Yeah, definitely. But he has been a top tier quarterback at one point.
Okay,
now he has fallen down. Now,
you want a cookie?
like you said, over time he has down.
The first year doesn't count because you have to kill him. The second year, what are you gonna do? Second year, you wet the bed. Third year, you don't even make it to the playoffs. What are we talking about?
And he didn't play with some great receivers.
He had some great receivers. He had when Elliott when was doing his thing. What did you do with that? Nothing. You have these weapons. You have a solid defense, okay, but you're not doing anything. I don't pay you to go to the divisional round. I'm sorry. I pay for you to win championships. At least go to the NFC Championship.
Yeah,
you haven't even done that.
Yeah. And I'm going to say this.
Since 1995.
When Dak plays against other quarterbacks, because we can blame a lot of situations on O-line, defense, he never outperforms other quarterbacks. He never outperforms another quarterback. Never.
Exactly.
I'm talking about
and that's the problem. We give him all this, Dak, is this the year Dak's going to do it? No, this is not the year Dak's is going to do it. He's out.
Okay.
Get rid of him.
Okay, y'all. Up next, we're coming at you with our Pirate Post. Stay tuned. Basketball season is back. We now go to our reporter Kennedy Scales in the field.
This past Monday, Hampton University's women's basketball starts off their season strong, bringing home their first win of the season. Last week, the Lady Pirates played their first game against Bowie State. The Hampton Lady Pirates bounced back from an early setback to take the lead against Bowie State by halftime. They were down 7-2 shortly after the game started and trailed by as much as 7 points at 15-8. But Hampton ended the first quarter strong, cutting the lead to 15-11. In the second quarter, Hampton picked up the pace, outscoring Bowie State with 17-9 points and putting them at a 28-24 score by halftime. Towards the end of the game, a Lady Pirate who had it scored in the first quarter added 5 more points into the second. The Lady Pirates made an amazing shot at the end of the quarter, bringing home their first win of the season. Then not too far after, the Lady Pirates played their first away game at Radford University, losing 65-55. The Hampton Lady Pirates started strong by scoring 12 points, putting them in the lead by the end of the first quarter. But Radford fought back by scoring 20 more points in the second quarter. Radford then scored the last 5 points of the half, leaving it at 26-24 at halftime. Radford opened the third quarter strong, scoring another 15 points. Hampton answered with an 8-2 run, bringing them within only 1 point at 37-36 in the third quarter. The Lady Pirates return home to host Norfolk State in the Battle of the Bay on November 16th at 5 p.m. My name is Kennedy Scales with Sabre Sports.
Thanks, Kennedy. We now go to reporter Logan Russell in the field.
Nothing but net. Hampton University's men's basketball team kicked off their season with a dominant victory last Monday, showcasing a promising future under new coach Ivan Thomas. The Pirates wasted no time defeating Mid-Atlantic Christian University 110-53. Newcomers and returning players alike contributed to the impressive win. Noah Farrakhan and George Beal Jr. led the offensive charge, while Tyrese Mullen and Daniel Johnson provided a strong inside presence. The team's defense was also impressive, forcing numerous turnovers and limiting the Mustangs' scoring opportunities. On Friday, however, the team hit a bit of a roadblock, losing to George Washington University 54-82. The team struggled to find their offensive rhythm early on in the game, and by the second half, GW turned up the heat, capitalizing on Hampton's turnovers and hitting key shots. George Beal Jr. did provide a spark off the bench, leading the team in scoring with 19 points. Despite the loss, the Pirates showed resilience and fought hard throughout the game. The team will look to rebound as they prepare to head off and face Providence tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. For Sabre Sports, I'm Logan Russell.
Thanks, Logan. That's all we have for this week's episode. If you haven't already, be sure to like and follow and subscribe to us on social media at Sabre Sports TV. We'll see you next week on Sabre Sports.